Greetings, one and all. This is Dr. Jonathan Ellerby with another live 12 at 12. It is Friday, May 29th, 2020. I am broadcasting from Louisville, Colorado, and I don't know where you live. I don't know when you're going to hear this, but in my part of the world, we are presently in the moment of what feels like the eruption of extreme chaos. Now, that might seem like an exaggeration to some, and that might feel like an understatement to others. The context for today's discussion about finding your center in times of chaos and understanding where true lasting change begins is that we are not only in a time of growing social division and extremes over something as simple as the coronavirus reopening and people's desires to either honor or not honor medical and state recommendations. But we are now also in the middle of the eruption of racial tension and well justified after the police murder of George Floyd, as well as sadly, several other absolutely unnecessary, unintentional police murders and civilian murders of Black people in just the first 5 months of this year for no other reason than race. The divisions are growing. The communication is becoming unclear and confusing, and people are becoming outraged, and each and all of these episodes and incidents and topics are obviously feeding and fueling each other at a core level. One of the things that strikes as an extreme accentuation in terms of the racial injustice that is being confronted right now is not only the presence of police and political violence against African American Black people, but the clear resurgence, or you might say increase, the dramatic increase in coronavirus cases and deaths among Black and Latino communities, particularly because of poverty. So this is the foundation for today's talk. If you don't know me, I'm Dr. Jonathan Ellerby. You can learn more at jonathanellerby.com. I'm giving away a free book right now on spiritual experience. And before we go any further, let's take a breath together. I want to share a couple of readings, and then we're going to really dive into the main message, finding a starting point in times of chaos and uncertainty. Let your eyes close, if you will. Big breath in, maybe a few, just kind of imagine you're just gathering up all the uncertainty, anxiety, worry, whatever is going on in your heart and mind, and let it go. Now slowing down your attention and intention, paying more attention to your body and your breath, letting your breath become soft as you pay more and more attention just to the quietness that is within you and around you. Whatever is passing through, distractions, emotions, just come back to your center. Listen for quiet, listen for calm. And then we're going to let the words of these passages just kind of open our hearts and minds. There's an old Pueblo blessing from the indigenous people of this country where I am, and it's been translated like this. Hold on to what is good, even if it's just a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it's a tree that stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it's a long way from here. Hold on to life, even if it's easier to let go. Hold on to my hand, even if I have gone away from you. And then from A Course in Miracles, on page 88, it reads, "What is healing but the removal of all that stands in the way of knowledge?" I'm going to say that again. What is healing but the removal of all that stands in the way of knowledge? And how else can one dispel illusions except by looking at them directly, without protecting them? Be not afraid, therefore, for what you will be looking at is the source of fear, and you are beginning to learn that fear is not real. And these two beautiful, powerful readings are important for us today as we each wonder, what the hell is going on in this world? If you listen to people like me, then clearly you're someone who is longing for, encouraging, wanting peace on this planet, harmony between nations, countries, communities, and cultures. And yet, we ourselves have to find the bold balance between comforting ourselves, seeking wellness, seeking peace and spirituality and awakening, and understanding how to keep our hearts and minds open to what is going on in the world that we're a part of, so that we don't find ourselves enlightened and at peace in a burning building, which sort of is what it feels like right now. We are narrowing in on the number of years we have left to turn around ecological crisis. Scientists have gathered, good scientists, credible scientists, scientists from world's leading institutions, to say that at best we have till 2050, and some projections say less, to turn around things like pollution of the ocean, pollution of the atmosphere. And we're not just talking about climate change, we're talking about water quality, we're talking about being able to feed people, we're talking about being able to breathe without creating chronic illness. Clearly, we have not done enough to resolve gender diversity and inequality. We haven't done enough, nearly enough, to resolve racial tension and equality and justice. The list goes on and on. But do we just hold these statistics and ideas in despair? Or is there a way that we can be a part of changing them? The first step that we must take is learning to find the silent stillness within us. Not as a retreat, but as a starting point. Whenever there is crisis, the best crisis managers, our EMTs, our nurses, our doctors, our therapists, they know that the first reaction to a moment of extreme need is never extreme. The first reaction is to stop, slow down, and assess. Always. When people are trained for emergency work, and really whether that's police or military or pilots or firefighters, one of the criteria that we know is most essential and is now more critical than ever is the ability to slow down, to diminish reactivity, to diminish unconscious behavior and to assess what is really going on, what is truly our role, and what is the most empowering and harmonious way to bring our gifts forward. When we literally see police officers murdering essentially innocent people over race, we know that something is wrong in that individual. It doesn't mean police are corrupt. It means that policeman is corrupt, and it means that they don't understand how to do their job, because the job of anyone who faces crisis is to start with the center. And for you, it's no different. How are you going to handle differences in the world when people yell at you because you're not wearing a mask or because you are wearing a mask? How are you going to handle the obvious opportunity to get involved with registering people to vote, to learning about sexual abuse and gender inequality and the rights of the LGBT community and so on? Whatever you want to be a part of making a difference with or for, you're going to have to find your silent center first. And strangely, through meditation, prayer, time in nature, whatever it takes, it is only when we can feel peace and the vast perspective that tells us even this horror will pass, and ultimately the universe will evolve regardless of what we do. Spirit remains everywhere, and whether we choose to actualize the love and wisdom that is available to us or not, it is immanent, ever present. That's the first step to our greatest capacity to do anything. And that's hard for some people to understand, because what we're saying is, before you take action, stop, find the place in you that does not need to take any action, that doesn't need to fix anything, that can love and accept the world as it is. And then, from that place of love and observation, we can listen to the impulse of our heart and soul and take action to create a better world for all with an energy that people can receive, with words that people can hear. There is no doubt that I can understand and appreciate and even respect why people riot. They are in pain. They are outraged. They have decades, centuries of evidence that tells them their voice doesn't matter or won't be heard. I certainly get that. But what we also see is that it perpetuates division and the inability for each side to hear each other. And so whether you're struggling with a spouse, a child, an ex-partner, a community member, a neighbor, or something more extreme, someone with political or cultural differences that you really struggle with, start at the center. Start with the vast perspective of compassion that holds every perspective. And then, not because you're right, not because they have to change, not because they're wrong, not because you are in a state of extreme emotion, but because you can feel life moving through you and the wisdom of the universe calling you to action, you can take steps with confidence, clarity, compassion, and the kind of power that will change lives. It's a tricky balance. It sounds like a paradox, but we are all capable of it. Action and the evolution towards justice without peace, compassion, and total acceptance is a fire that burns everything down. But seeking peace, escape, and a perspective that leads to denial is a kind of calm that ultimately drowns all of us. So let's bring these forces together and let's commit every day to being a part of a safe new world for everyone. Love you lots, and we'll see you soon.